Hey everybody, and welcome to the beginning of our 2019 year-end coverage. I'm Tom Vasel, and we're going to be going through best stuff from 2019. So an introduction to this series of sorts. Many of them will be done by just me. Over the next 3 days, though, Sam and Z will be joining me for 3 top 10 lists in a row. On Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll be talking about our top 10 surprises, top 10 experiences, and the top 10 games of the year, which will also be Sam's last top 10 with us, so come back for those. Now, some things that I'll probably try to say this in each top 10 list. These are games that were published in 2019. I usually use the criteria that it was mostly in 2019. It might have come out the last week or two of 2018, which means it wasn't widely available until 2019. And does it come out, was it printed in English for the most part? Sometimes a game, for example, The Crew came out in Germany this year, fantastic game, but it's not the English production of it is not coming until next year, so it's going to be a 2020 game. This particular list is top 10 two-player games. So I picked for this list games that are mostly billed as a two-player game. Some of these are not, but I think that they are essentially a two-player game. So there might be a great Euro game that plays well with 2 players. Well, maybe that's on the list, maybe it's not. So before we do that, though, I'm going to do a shout-out to some of our Kickstarter backers. Thank you, Tom DeVere Smith, serving in Northern Ireland, and Mark Phaedrus, and Strategos Games. Thank you guys for supporting our Kickstarter. Don't forget, our Kickstarter is starting up again this coming January. But forget all that for now. We're going to get ready to talk about two-player games. Let's get started. All right, so number 10 here is a two-player game of which I've never played the main game that came with it, and that is Foothills. So Foothills, which is based on Snowdonia from Tony Boydell. I still haven't played Snowdonia. I got the deluxe version. It's coming. But Foothills, a two-player game, and I think Melody and I played this one live on our channel this time. Really neat game where you're taking cards. You're using these cards. You're going to play the card, taking the action of the card, and then it flips over to the other side. And then you use that action, and it flips back over. And then you can use a card to score something as the game goes by. And when that happens, that card is removed from the possible actions you can take, and then you'll need to get another card to replace it. A neat idea. The rest of it's about clearing off rubble and building trains and stuff. But that whole card play back and forth made for a neat Euro-style game. So my number 10 here is Foothills from Tony Boydell.
Number 9.
Now, number 9 is a game that is definitely billed as a game that multiple people can play, but I found that this game is best with 2 players, and after that, it's best solo, probably, and that would be Marvel Champions. So yay for superheroes. If you've watched this channel at all, you know that I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'm always excited to see these kind of games come out. Marvel Champions, each player is going to have a deck of cards for one of the superheroes, and so far, we're just talking the base game here. There isn't even any expansion out, still like it. You can be She-Hulk or Iron Man or Spider-Man or Black Panther or Captain Marvel, and then you fight against Rhino or some bad guy of sorts. It's a neat game. Each deck has a very different feel to it, and I really like the 2-player version of this because you're talking back and forth with your partner, kind of tag teaming as you go in, and it's Marvel. It's fun with 2 players, and so my number 9 is Marvel Champions.
Number 8.
My number 8 is actually being reprinted next year, I think, but this was a really fun back and forth 2-player games. I just mentioned Marvel Champions. This one is not themed, it's like its own made-up theme, but it's also superheroes, and that's Kapow. Kapow is a back and forth 2-player game where one person plays a hero, one person plays a villain, and you are rolling dice, using those dice and secretly allocating them behind your screen to different actions. You want to attack or defend, but you also customize dice. You'll be able to get more dice as you improve, or even have dice that are customizable. It's a really cool game, and this one does not get a lot of love. This is one that many of you may not have heard of, but I really enjoy this one. The back and forth between the hero and villain. I'm a big fan of dice, of course, and of customizable dice, and that is my number 8, Kapow.
Number 7.
I'm a big fan of abstract strategy two-player games, and this one, it has a theme, but it's really an abstract strategy game, and that's Karn, or I'm still not sure how to pronounce it exactly. In this game, you have some druids, and you are moving these druids across the board. You're trying to get your druids to the other side, just like the chicken, or surround someone else's druid in a certain way, and you do that by picking an action tile. You take the action on that tile, then you flip it to the other side, which will let your opponent use it, or maybe if they don't, comes back to you, then you can use it. Some neat concepts. There's a little bit of difference because there's different kinds of altars and things that will show up over the course of the game. It has a lot of similarities to Onitama. This one is slightly more chaotic, but I do enjoy it and has fantastic components. My number 7 is Karn.
Number 6.
Number 5, or number 6, I should say, which would make more sense, is another fighting game. This one came out really close to the end of 2018, although I don't know if that's when I played it at least, but I enjoy the back and forth two-player fighting style games, and this is probably my favorite one currently, and that is Combo Fighter. Now, there's no question that there are big, deep, involved, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat style games. Combo Fighter, where each person has their own deck and you just go against the other person, is so fast and so furious and does let you do, well, the combos. I really enjoy it. Each deck feels very different than the others, but I think this one came the closest to actually feeling like a fighting game. Like there's been Yomi and BattleCon, and I've enjoyed those games a lot. But this one I like because I think I could teach this to almost anybody in a really quick amount of time. And I've also seen someone, about to keel over from getting KO'd, come back and win against the opponent. And I found that to be very, very enjoyable if it's me. But either way, that's a lot of fun. My number 6 is Combo Fighter.
Number 5.
Number 5 is a little quirky game that I almost missed, and someone showed it to me, and I really enjoyed playing it, and that is Getaway Driver. Getaway Driver is a game in which one person is driving from the police. The other person's the police, chasing them down in a city and trying to surround them. And it's a really clever little game as you're playing out the cards in the streets, and the getaway driver is trying to avoid the obstacles, and the police officer is trying to decide if they want to bring in a helicopter or set up barricades or how they're going to do it. Very asymmetrical, like I said, quirky little style game, but the theme is really strong, and it's one that I enjoy a lot. So my number 5, Getaway Driver.
Number 4.
Number 4 is a fantastically produced, amazing artwork, another asymmetrical game, and that is Skulk Hollow. In Skulk Hollow, one person is playing a giant guardian, a stone guardian that's been awakened for whatever reason, and then the other side is playing the woodland creatures, knights and things like that. And they are trying to go and attack this big guardian. You actually jump onto the guardian like a huge titan, and attacking different parts of its body. There are 4 different guardians. There are 4 different leaders of the good guys. So that makes 16 different matchups, and they all feel very distinct, especially the guardians. Each guardian has special abilities. Each guardian has a different way of attacking, and the production, and it doesn't even play, it's like maybe a 30-minute, 45-minute game, but it feels deeper and more involved than that. Really, really had a lot of fun with this one, and that is Skulk Hollow, my number 4.
Number 3.
My number 3 here. Now we're going to go sheer, straight-up abstract, and that is Shoubou. Shoubou doesn't even look like a 2019 game. When you look at this and say, what year did this come out? You might think, it came out in the 90s, the 80s. No, it's brand new, but it's made deliberately to have that weathered look to it. So this game, in which you are simply trying to push all your opponent's stones off of one of these boards. There's 4 different boards. You pick a board and you move it, that's on your side of the rope, and then you move another stone on one of the other boards that same way. So it kind of has this weird mirroring movement. It's really simple though. It plays extremely, I could teach it to you in just a few minutes. and it takes a lifetime to master. Okay, whatever, that nonsense. But that's really how this game feels. It feels like a game that's a classic, that's been around for a really long time, and the depth of play in it is really well done. Like, this is a game I'll sit there and really think carefully over each of my moves. Really enjoyed this one. Number 3, Shoubou.
Number 2.
My number 2 here is well, this one's not abstract at all, although, I mean, the game is abstract, but it has a theme, a historical theme involved with it, and that is Watergate. Watergate, a 2-player game in which one person is President Nixon trying to do a cover-up, and the other person is a bunch of reporters trying to uncover that cover-up. This plays like a short Twilight struggle, essentially, as you are playing cards, using those cards for action points, putting evidence on this board, trying to connect evidence on this board. Both players have different ways to win. The reporters trying to connect evidence from a suspect to the president themselves, and the other person is just trying to just make it go away. It's really well done. It is excellent. And even if you don't like the theme, let's say you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Like I said, it's kind of weird. It's like strongly thematic overlay to some degree, where, hey, you have all this history involved, but you could take that history out and it just plays like an abstract game, but a very interesting back and forth one. Twilight Struggle is one of my favorite games. Having it kind of condensed down into a shorter time frame really makes me happy. So that makes my number 2, Watergate.
And finally, number 1.
And finally, my number 1 game, very similar to Watergate, actually. This is my surprise 2-player hit of the year, and that is Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg, which was originally billed as World War II in 20 minutes. That's what it says there, and that is accurate. This is very similar to Watergate. It would be hard for me necessarily to pick one over the other. But this one here is a similar tug-of-war style game in which you are fighting over different theaters and taking tiles and placing them with these back and forth tug-of-wars, but some of the tiles have special abilities. Some of the tiles, when you place them where you place them, something will happen. You can get new tiles using technology, but it's so simple, it's so cool. It is World War II in 20 minutes, but it's really, really abstracted. Get that. But this is probably my favorite Paolo Mori game to date. I think every time I play his games, I think they're getting better and better. And if you have a quick, you want a quick time playing 2-player games back and forth, you definitely are going to want to check this one out. So my number 1 game is Blitzkrieg. Alrighty. Well, before I sign off here, folks, here's your chance. If you're watching live, why didn't you pick such and such? Now, again, there's no way we can play every game that came out over the course of the year, so probably my answer will be, didn't have a chance to play that one yet. But I did go through my list, and I played several hundred games that came out this year, so these were my favorite 10. Of course, yours may vary. So if you have some sort of, here's your chance, put it in the comments. Why didn't you pick this one here? Funkoverse. Yeah, that's a really great 2-player game. Certainly one I thought about putting in there. So Funkoverse and Unmatched, both of those are really cool, and they probably just missed the list by a very small margin. Very, very fun games. I would probably 11, but they could easily move higher than that. Tainted Grail. Yeah, that works well with 2, but I'm kind of playing it solo at the moment, so there's that. Robin of Locksley, I have not yet played. Why was Marvel Champions lower on the list? Because I'm not as super hyped about it as everybody else appears to be. I know everyone loves, Marvel Champions, and that's fantastic and great, and I like it a lot, just not as much as other people, and that's why it's my personal top 10 list. I didn't play Solo Fide. 13 Days of Cuban Missile Crisis, I like that a lot. Didn't come out in 2019. What about games that are for more than 2 but play better with 2? Hey, maybe that's a top 10 list that will come out later. You never know. Dulusar Island, I want to say that was a 2018 game, which is why that did not make the list. I do like it a lot. Catan did not come out this year. That was 1995. Also, Catan's a terrible 2-player game. You should never play Catan with 2. I don't even think you can. It's actually, Catan's a bad 3-player game. You should play with 4, and then not 5. Catan is like a game that's only good with 4. All right. Odin's Ravens, come on. Okay, people are now asking about multiplayer games that are good with 2. Maybe I'll make that list. We'll see. We got a lot of top 10 lists that are coming your way. I think we have 15 different lists, end of the year lists, so we'll jump on those. Well, I think that's pretty much it because everyone's just saying the same thing now. So we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing our top 10 surprises of the year. That's me, Sam, and Z. And then on Thursday, we'll be doing our top 10 gaming experiences of the year. And then Friday, we will be doing our top 10 games of 2019. I hope to see you guys then. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching my top 10 2-player games of the year. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.